Hey guys, welcome to the first video podcast of How I Shot This. We're starting off with Anna from Ginger's Eyes, an incredibly inspiring photographer, and we take a deep dive into how her mind works, how she approaches her work, and what it means to her. We even analyze some of her work that she's shot before and how she took them. Now, some of you might be listening to this in the background, so whenever you hear this sound, it means we're showing something in context on the screen, so feel free to swing on by and check it out. Without wasting too much time, let's get straight to it. Anna, welcome to this chat. Thank you so much for being here. I'm really excited to have you here, and I cannot wait to learn more about you and the way that your mind works. You've got some of the most creative ideas coming out on your Instagram feed all the time, and you really are an inspiration not only to us, but to everyone that I ever speak to. My wife, Melly, is also a big fan of yours, and she said she really wants to come to one of your workshops and events and shoots with you. So let's jump right in. Who is Anna from Ginger's Eyes? Tell us a bit about you.
Hey, thank you so much for having me. First of all, as I said before, I'm a little nervous because I'm not used to do this kind of thing. But at the same time, I'm super excited as well. So yeah, who's Anna from Ginger's Eyes? I don't know. Human being, first of all. This is what I try to be in my business, and this is what I put forward, this side of mine. And I started photography not so long ago, around 4 years now, I think. Yeah, 4 years. And it kind of came to my life very naturally, like I was always with a camera in my hand, like doing traveling photos and doing like some certain, I don't know, photographing friends and so on, like everyone, I guess, when they were starting out. But I never ever thought to actually make it my occupation, my calling, right? So this happened very naturally. I moved to Barcelona with my husband. I lived before in Romania with him. Originally, I'm from Russia, so it's like too many countries in the same conversation. Yeah. So we lived in his country for some time, and then I was working there as a corporate worker in an office, and it drained me completely. And I decided that, we decided to move to a different space where we both will feel comfortable, because I wasn't really, like, let's say, in my plate while living there. So we decided it's going to be Barcelona. And the craziest thing is that I've never been to Barcelona before moving there.
Really? And now
Um,
your husband, has he been
yeah.
there before?
Yeah, he's been there with work, but I haven't. And I just took up this adventure, and said, yeah, take me anywhere warm and nice and beautiful and cultural. So we decided to try Barcelona.
That's amazing. And how do you like it there so far?
Yeah, we love it. It's like an international city in a very creative space. And this is where, like, I could actually thrive as my creative self. So
Mm-hmm.
when we moved there, I didn't even think to do photography, but I had a lot of free time in my hands while I was waiting for my documents to be, finalized.
Yeah.
So I just asked a couple of models on Instagram to do some creative shoots. So we went, we did them, and then I started posting those on Instagram. And almost right after that, I started getting different inquiries.
Oh,
Um, you know,
crazy.
yeah, from different people who were reaching out to me on Instagram and asking if I do photo sessions and so on. It was super fast for me. Like, I can't
Mm-hmm.
complain. Yeah. And then it picked up, and then it snowballed. And then very quickly I realized that I'm more attracted to doing the couple work
Mm-hmm.
than the individual sessions. So I just went towards it.
Oh, that's great. I mean, so when you started getting your first shoots and everything like that, were you nervous going to them for the first time? If they were shoots that you didn't actually set up, or was it were you just as confident going to them as if you had planned them?
Um, of course not. Yeah, I was super nervous all the time. And to be honest, I was a completely different person back then. Like, I wasn't that extroverted. And I would say I had a little bit of issue connecting to people. I had this during all my life, and I was struggling with it a lot. I just didn't know how to help myself, how to kind of change, some qualities in my character that would allow me to connect with people easier and be nicer. Like, I'm saying that now because, like, it's been a long path for me learning
Sure.
learning all those things. So yeah, and I would say that photography, this is why like I always say that photography is a therapy. First of
Mm-hmm.
all, it's like it's a concept that I'm promoting for the clients, for the people I photograph, because I want the photography to be like the ultimate best experience for them, and not only experience but as a therapy as well, like to kind of maybe access some of their deepest feelings
Mm-hmm.
and heal and work on themselves and so on. So this is exactly what photography has been for me. It had a therapeutical effect. That's why
Sure.
I can say that it changed me a lot as well. Like my, let's say,
Your sort of confidence and yeah.
yeah, not only confidence, even like the way you communicate with people. What do you say? How do you act around them? How do you make them feel comfortable with you? How do you make them, feel comfortable so they can actually open up and
Mm.
trust you, you know. So yeah, it's been a long learning journey, but I'm super satisfied that life gave me that opportunity to be a
Yeah,
photographer.
well, it seems to be your calling because again, the work you're putting out is so creative and so different to what we see in the industry. Like, one thing
Oh,
is,
thank you
it's
again.
it's very easy to kind of be inspired by someone and learn how to shoot in a certain way. But it's one thing to then take those ideas or come up with something completely different, which is what you're doing. Every time you post something, it's always new, and I find it so fascinating. And this is absolutely why I really am excited to speak to you and to hear that it's therapeutic to you and not only to you but to your couples is also very interesting because a couple times when we've had couples, we've had them come up to us afterwards and saying, hey, that shoot was great, but it was also really great for us as a couple. It got us maybe out of a rough patch. For once we were shooting a couple just after they got married. We did a little after wedding shoot with them, and it was the sort of post wedding stress that was getting them down. And this couple shoot really helped them reconnect again and enjoy it. And I think you're very right in saying that couple shoots and spending that time with each other can really do wonders. And you have photography to thank for that.
Definitely, yeah. Definitely, like this approach of mine, that I have now, I developed it over the years. And definitely, when I started out the photography, I wasn't like thinking about it so, let's say, deeply, right? I wasn't
Mm-hmm.
giving it so much meaning as I do now. So that's why, of course, I was nervous when, I was meeting new people, and I was always trying to figure out and read the couple so I can, adjust my energy better to them and make them feel confident as well and comfortable. But yeah, I think the more you do that and the more you actually try, to fill them out, and the more you do the sessions, like sessions after sessions, and meet new people, like it comes easier and easier, of course.
Correct.
So
Yeah.
yeah, there is no like shortcut, I guess. You just have to do a lot of work, and this is what I've done. I've done also when I started. I did a lot of personal projects as well. I do them till this very day, and I enjoy them a
Yeah.
lot because I think they like those are the ones that actually push your limits and let you grow, and grow exponentially, not
That's
just
very right. Now, with these personal projects, Anna, how are you coming up with them? Like, are you being inspired by something you see in movies? Is it something that you've seen other people do that you thought, hey, you know what, I want to try something different? Because one of the hardest challenges is actually coming up with the ideas of doing these shoots. Perhaps you could be a technically great photographer, like you would know how to light anything, but to come up with the idea on how to light someone or to work with different tools or to, for example, introduce motion blur creatively, is this something that you've kind of learned and to inspire yourself by and then just write it down on a piece of paper and then just go out and do it? Or how do you come up with these ideas?
Oh, that's the whole process. It's very complicated. But like as for the inspiration, I think I can be inspired by absolutely everything. Yeah, from the movies to paintings to other artists to photographers that are completely outside of wedding field, for example. I follow a lot of those, and I buy a lot of books of the photographers I love and
Mm-hmm.
admire. That are like fashion photographers, or street style, or whatever. Then like absolutely anything, just walking in the forest and seeing the light shining through the leaves, or I don't know, driving in a car and listening to certain music can inspire me. And like, to be honest, like since I was a child, I was always when listening to a certain song, I would always imagine a movie in my head, like what I would
Mm-hmm.
shoot
Yeah,
as a
yeah.
director. Yeah, maybe like it's a common thing, and everybody does that. And then at some point, I stopped doing that. So because I grew up,
Mm-hmm.
and we like lose this childish part of ours. But then at some point, when I started doing photography, I realized that I need this again in my life, and I started like forcing myself to kind of, develop my imagination again. And every time, yeah, I would listen to a song or I would like watch a movie, I would like, imagine my kind of things that I would do in this circumstances or with this tune or whatever it can be. So yeah, this is one thing. And then another thing is that you mentioned the diversity,
Mm-hmm.
and this is true because I'm the person who gets bored very easily
Mm-hmm.
if I repeat things over and over again. So, like, living in Barcelona and having this beautiful city to photograph in, but, after you do 10 sessions there, like at least me, I'm always like thinking, oh my God, I cannot do this anymore. I cannot go to the city center anymore and
Mm.
shoot anyone there. So when I kind of had enough of those, I started to think what else can I add into my photography to make it interesting first of all for myself, because I don't want to be burned out. I don't want to feel exhausted and feel bored, because then the people will feel it as well. And then the work
Correct.
is not going to be as great as it can be, right? Because you're not inspired. So I always search for new ways to express myself, for new locations. I travel a lot with photography as well. And all those things combined inspire me. Also, I think, the thing is that it's not only about, let's say, the type of photography or the type of location, it's about everything. It's even about the style. And this is something that I taught during like during the mentorship sessions with the photographers that contact me, right? For me, it's not about the style, it's about the
Mm-hmm.
taste, always. Like, for example, there are photographers who only do, let's say, boho style or only do
Okay.
minimalistic, modern style, right? And this is where they thrive and this is where they are able to create their genius work. And again, because there is no like common feel or a common recipe how to do things right. And this is what I love about the photography the most, because there is no right or wrong. There's just something that works for you and something that
Absolutely.
doesn't, right? So for me, this kind of things wouldn't work, right? If I would do 100 boho photo sessions, I would be like, okay, I'm going back to the office. I don't want to do
Yeah,
this
sure.
anymore. So that's why for me, the diversity is the key to stay motivated and inspired and to create my best work.
That's
Yeah,
amazing. That's really, really true. And it's kind of like getting complacent and kind of, in a way, you could also get lazy when you know how to do something a certain way and,
exactly.
you kind of
Yeah,
keep getting the good results. But if you keep doing it,
yeah,
you never really push yourself. And, that's
yeah,
exactly how you'll get left behind, I think.
exactly.
Whether
Yeah,
it's other photographers are going to overshoot you. I mean, that's one thing that we all have to remember is, we're in our prime now, let's say that, but there's going to be other photographers that are going to come up completely
yeah,
out of nowhere that are going to be so inspired by your work and apply it to their own, and they're going to create something different and I wouldn't say better, but I would just say different, and maybe that's going to catch
yeah,
people's eyes. And you're right in saying, if everyone is doing a certain style, or at least a group of people are all doing the same style, it gets not only tiring for the photographers, I would imagine, but also for potential clients, the ones that are actually looking for something different, that are looking for something creative and outstanding and maybe more representative of them, or someone who could take their ideas and make it a reality. So it's very, very true to have these personal projects to push yourself. Now, would
yeah,
you find it difficult to, once you have this idea, to just start, like that first step about reaching up out to a couple with this idea in mind? Because I find, like with anything, with any project, I mean, even how I shot this, the hardest part was starting, was that first
yeah,
pen and paper. Okay, let's do this. So we have this great idea. We can talk about it for 2 years, but like the hardest part was just starting it. Like building that Instagram account was just, it took me forever to
yeah.
do it.
I can
But
imagine.
I guess, once you start, the momentum comes, right?
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean, I think it's always difficult to think about the start, but when you start, it's not as difficult as you thought about it. You know what I mean? Does it make
gotcha.
sense? Yeah,
Absolutely. Yeah, you kind of overthink it before. Now, excellent. Now, that's kind of bringing me on to the next question, sort of on how you would see the world. So, this is based on your sort of inspiration and things. So, now when you approach a shoot and you have these ideas in mind, are you going there already with like a shot list that you have? Like, okay, I know I want to have the couple interacting in a certain way, or I know I want to have a composition where this and this works where I want to have the waterfall flowing upwards. Do you have these ideas in your mind, or are you going to these shoots with a vague idea and then kind of being inspired on the spot? And perhaps this could also be towards the weddings as well.
Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. So it depends. But to be honest, like every time I do a personal project, I do prepare very thoroughly for it. It's like the whole process.
Mm-hmm.
It's a long discussion. But yeah, sometimes I even do the short list as well because even though if I'm not gonna do each and every one of them, I would still have a certain scenario in my head that I could follow. And in case
Cool.
I black out, let's say, or I don't understand what to shoot next, I can always like kind of pick in and pick up my ideas. So yeah, sometimes I do shot list, sometimes I do mood board, sometimes I do something else, or sometimes I just go with the flow.
All right, guys. So at this point, there was some construction work happening just outside of Anna's window, so we had to change location. So sorry for the little interruption here. Anna, welcome back from your change of location. It's nice that it's a bit more
Yes.
quieter here now and everything. But no
Sorry
worries,
about
you
that.
no worries. You're living the life in Costa Rica at the moment.
Yeah.
You're there on holiday and for work, right? Just quickly before we get
Yeah,
in.
yeah, I'm here initially for holiday, but then the community or like yeah, they call it the community where I stay. They asked me to do a little project for them, so
Oh,
I'm gonna be
cool.
shooting. Yeah, it's a very very nice eco village, and they promote the simple way of living, connection to oneself. We have a lot of activities on site, including meditation, yoga, and all of that. And like we just stay always in the nature and always like connected to other people. So it's a really really cool concept. And they asked me to do a little project for them, so I'm going to be shooting couples of this place like who work here.
Oh,
um,
cool.
yeah, yeah, to showcase their connectedness to themselves and to each other. So
I
yeah.
can't wait to see what you produce. Costa Rica seems like such an incredible place, and yeah, we're
Yeah,
gonna be
cold
following you and
feet.
watching. Yeah.
Nervous a little bit, but yeah, I think it's going to be great.
I'm sure it is. And it's good to feel nervous. I always tell that to people is that if you're feeling nervous, it means you care about it. It means something to you, you know?
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
like when you
yeah.
don't feel anything, then it's like, it's not so great anymore. So it's good to feel nervous. It's
I guess this
exciting.
feeling, yeah, this feeling kicks in when it's something completely new, like the new
Hmm.
country, the new setting, new people. So yeah, I guess it's okay to feel this way. But
Yeah.
then it disappears once I pick up the camera. Yeah, it
Yeah.
definitely disappears. Yeah.
Now, speaking about nervousness now, and how nervous were you shooting your first wedding? Tell us a little bit about how you actually got into weddings and you landing
Um,
the first jobs and, talk us through what it was like.
I think it was pretty logical because I started shooting couples a lot,
Mm-hmm.
and then it was pretty logical to also transition into weddings as well. I remember I was pretty nervous during my first wedding, or at least before that. And I remember that the couple didn't know how long I was photographing. I think they thought that I was photographing much longer than I was, but it was like less than a year or something. It was okay though, not the best experience because also like it's very challenging to work alongside other professionals as well, especially when
Mm-hmm.
you don't really vibe. And during this wedding they had a videographer who had a completely different take on visual arts,
Oh
and
no.
it had completely different style than I did. And so we're tearing the couple
Oh
apart.
shame.
Like he was asking these things, I was asking the other things. So and like we didn't coexist well. So this was my first experience, but then I learned through it as well. So it's a completely different situation now with the videographers and so on. And I do try to work with the ones I vibe well.
For
That's for
sure.
sure, and I recommend them to my couples as well. I mean, also the thing is that after doing probably 5 to 10 weddings. I realized that the weddings is not maybe my favorite thing to do. I still love them, but the thing is that I don't want to exaggerate with the weddings. Like, I don't want to book 30 or 40 weddings per year because I know
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to be exhausted and I
Mm-hmm.
know I'm going to burn out. So I want to keep the amount small so I can still serve my clients the best. I can still
Yeah.
enjoy it and deliver the best work. So now I figured out the perfect amount of weddings for me per year, which is like 15 to 17, and the majority of them are outside of Spain. So I always travel. It's always like additional time, at least 3 days. A lot
Mm-hmm.
of the time they book me even for a couple of days before, a couple of days after for different events, post wedding sessions, and so on. So yeah, I love them. I enjoy them now because I know that I do the right amount.
That's cool. And that's very right. And you're right in about not burning yourself out. There's no point in getting to the end of the wedding season and being completely exhausted.
Exactly. Yeah.
And it does feel a little bit sort of unfair to those clients who are getting married at
Yeah.
the end of the year because now they're getting a photographer who's completely sort of tired and obviously is going to do the best, she can. But I mean, just the fatigue and the tiredness, and especially with traveling, we travel all the time for our weddings and it's exhausting. Like this whole world of
Yeah.
being a destination wedding photographer, it's amazing, you see the world, but it's hard work, and it's sometimes makes you think, oh, I wish I had a wedding where I could get home and sleep in my own bed at the end of the project and just wake up and
Yeah.
be in my own bed.
It's definitely hard work, but the thing is that we do it to ourselves because a lot of the times we just take on loads and loads of work, although we
Mm,
shouldn't, because we want to earn a lot of money, or I don't know what other reasons. But after, let's say, 3 years into photography, I realized that, I mean, first of all, you cannot earn all the money, and then it's just so much more valuable that you stay creative, you know
mm-hmm,
and also for me, it's very important that I can spend time with my family, with my husband, do like different activities and enjoy like the weekends together. So that's another reason why I don't want to fill all my weekends with weddings. And yeah, again, like, everyone has to kind of create that perfect recipe for themselves. I know photographers who only shoot locally and they don't want to book any wedding abroad because,
mm-hmm,
again, they love sleeping in their own bed, in the end of the day. And this way, they can take 40 weddings per year because they don't have to travel. And then there is another side, which is like kind of my case because I love to travel, but also I love to do it in more, let's say, chill way. So,
mm,
let's say if I have a wedding in Italy, let's say in Tuscany, I can like leave a couple days more for me to go to my favorite city on earth, which is Venice, and just spend
yeah.
there time alone and get inspired and just not do anything, not answering emails or having conversations over Instagram or posting anything. So yeah, I think like we have to figure out our own ways to regenerate the energy
You're
within
right,
us.
yeah. Yeah, and it's true. I
Yeah,
mean, if you allow that time where you could spend a little bit, a couple more days in a location that you're traveling to, it makes it a little bit easier. Then it's not like you going to a cool country for just 2 days and then you got to leave. If you are
yeah,
not
exactly,
shooting, let's say every single weekend, you have that chance to
exactly,
kind of really enjoy the life of being a destination wedding photographer. That's
for
very
sure.
cool.
And like also shooting, let's say day after day. For
Mm-hmm.
example, last year I was in the US and I had shoots almost every day. And then I just realized that, I mean, it was like 6 consecutive days or something.
Mm-hmm.
So I just realized that even though you are like keeping yourself still like active and creative and all of that, it's not completely up to you. There is just certain probably storage of your creativity that gets used up, or your eye is not sharp enough anymore
Mm.
after, let's say, 4 consecutive shoots. You know what I mean? So it's just difficult, and you cannot, take control over it. So that's why I decided that I'm not gonna do this anymore. It's gonna be like maximum 2 consecutive days of shooting, and then I have to have a break.
Hmm. Absolutely right. Well, that's cool. That's a good way that you actually experienced it because now you know how it affects you. You took the chance to go
Exactly.
out and try it and say, hey, you want to come back with all these great shoots. Let's do a week of hard work, but that hard work might actually be counterproductive. So now you've got that
Yeah.
experience and that valuable knowledge, which I'm sure you speak about in your mentoring and everything. So yeah, very, very insightful and valuable there.
Yeah, and also, you have to kind of know yourself, know your personality, and know if you're an introverted person or an extrovert, and that, like, let's say communicating or connecting to a lot of people charges you or drains you. So, like with me, I call myself an extroverted introvert.
Hmm.
So I can seem extroverted, but in fact, like after a long period of time of chatting to people or being around people, I feel completely lifeless. Like
Yeah.
I had those couple of weeks in November where I had my own workshop, and then I had another workshop, and I enjoyed it all so much. I was like the happiest person on earth. It was like the best social experience. But then I came home, and for 2 weeks I didn't want to go outside the house. I didn't want to meet
Mm,
any friends. I didn't want to, like, I just wanted to, close myself in a dark room and
what a
sit
shame.
there all by myself. Yeah. So this is the cost I pay after, being around people for a long time. So again, this is a learning curve still, right? So I had this experience and I know that I'm not likely to do it again because
Mhm.
I don't want to feel so down afterwards.
Yeah, you have to look after yourself, and I'm sure it wasn't exactly the nicest experience afterwards. But again, as you've just said, it's a learning curve, and props for trying it, props for going out and actually
Exactly. Yeah.
pushing yourself and doing it. And with anything, failure is just a route to learning.
Yeah,
It's very easy to
definitely.
see failure, or I don't want to call it failure because you didn't fail, but I mean, mistakes or things that didn't work out the way that you had hoped. It's a wonderful way to learn things. It's Yeah, it's one of the best possible methods.
I love
Now,
mistakes. I think they're the best.
that's it. And
Yeah.
you can embrace mistakes.
Yeah.
There's this thing. I was actually going to lead to a more technical side of photography, but this is perfect
Mhm.
because I noticed that you do a lot with motion blur, which, to
Mhm.
any, most photographers who are very scientific or technical, they might look at it and say, oh, it's out of focus, or oh, it's blurry, it's not a good shot, I won't take it in my selection. But you tend to embrace these things. And sometimes you can see that they purposely created. We have a couple photos that we'll bring up later and we'll talk about them.
Okay.
But are you sort of pre-planning these things? Like, you embrace these motion blur shots, and how does that make you feel? What do you think this blur in photo does to the viewers?
Again, I think it depends on the situation. Sometimes I pre-plan the shots that I'm gonna take, especially I think it pertains to double exposure shots. As for the blur, I think the main idea here is to communicate or to render the movement, let's say maybe a dreamy state, maybe a certain moment in the past that has passed, that, has flown by your eye, and then you've just captured it. So for me, like every shot that is not, let's say, standard one, I mean like the sharp one and so on, has to be intentional.
Gotcha.
Okay. So it has to serve the idea of the shoot or the idea of the moment or the feeling, render a certain feeling and so on. So yeah, whenever I take them, it's usually on purpose, but I can say I pre-plan those. I think it's more about like experimenting, and maybe when I was starting out to explore the slower shutter speed, I would just, leave a little bit of time for myself, like at the end of the session, for experimentation. When I
So
already know that,
after your safe shots.
yeah, exactly. Like when you know that you're going to deliver a certain amount of, shots and they're good to your clients, then you can experiment. And then it doesn't matter if those shots, don't turn out nice or as you expected, that's fine. But some of them do turn out amazing. So, and then that's how you grow. That's how you learn. But yeah, I think, as I said, being intentional is the key.
Mm-hmm.
And also, it's not only about the blurry shots, it's about composition,
Mm-hmm.
it's about the usage of light, it's about even the concept itself. So, yeah, it has to make sense for me.
Yeah,
I always
that's
ask
right.
myself why I do it. Like if I have a certain idea that it's like let's say out of the box, I always ask myself, does it serve the story? Does it serve the couple that I'm gonna photograph? And why do I want to do that? Why do I want to put flowers here, or why do I want to have people naked in this location? Like I kind of try to figure out the reasons for me.
That's very cool. Yeah, that asking yourself that question, why you're doing something, is something that I think we can all learn from. We can all get lost in kind of just following sort of what we think is right. But if you actually take the time to stop and ask yourself why position them this way, why frame them in this way, and if you can
Yeah,
answer that, or if you get inspired by those answers, I think you can then see the picture that you're going to create.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, while we're still on technicalities and things like that, Anna, if you had to go to a shoot, or whether it's a wedding or anything, what camera, what lens? I know people are interested in these questions. What is your absolute go-to? You house is burning, you have to grab just one of each. What are the tools that you're going to take to any shoot?
Yeah, I think that's simple. I'm gonna grab my camera that I usually work with, which is Nikon Z6.
Okay.
It's a mirrorless camera, and I love mirrorless. Like, I think it was such an upgrade.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I feel that you can do so much more things, so many more things with mirrorless cameras. And then 35 millimeters. I have a Sigma Art 35 millimeters. Yeah, it doesn't distort any image,
Mm-hmm.
and you can do like close-up portraits. You can do a little from far away, so it's very versatile for me.
Mm-hmm.
Because you can go any lower, like 50 millimeters, it's already like purely portrait lens, and then
Yeah.
24 is the wide one. So this is kind of in the middle, and this is my go-to lens. Usually at the weddings and at the sessions, I do include certain shots from 50, from 85, sometimes even 24, for example, when I shoot brand work or some
Mm-hmm.
fashion editorial photography. I think this is going to be the choice
That's
in
it.
case of the burning house. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. I mean, that 35 is a very, very diverse lens, as you've mentioned. You can get up right up close, you can shoot them wide.
Yeah,
It's a lens that could cover an entire wedding without any issues, I believe.
exactly. That's the beauty of it. Yeah.
Nice. So, Anna, shall we talk a little bit about some of the photos that you've already submitted to HIST?
Sure.
HIST is how I shot this. I use that abbreviation just because I'm too lazy to say how I shot
It's
this.
an amazing platform.
Oh,
I
thank
really
you.
enjoy it so much. I
Oh,
read I read my like I read the other photographers, inputs and the articles
well, that's
about
that's
their
really
photos.
kind of you. Thank you. It means a
That's
lot to
very
me that
helpful.
you say that, and yeah,
I
I
love it. Yeah.
pour my heart
That's
into
it.
this thing, and
Yeah.
all
And
right.
it's something really unique that you created, because there was nothing like this on the market as far as I know.
And
So congratulations for
thank
such a
you.
success.
Thank you so much. It's
Yeah.
it's it's a labor of love, if I can put it that way. I had to teach
Right.
myself how to build websites, so that's why it took me so long to get this thing started because I was like, okay, I have to start. And so doing the customer support and all the back end stuff and all the
You
front
do
end stuff,
everything, right?
everything. Yeah,
Oh my god.
yeah,
How do you do that? I mean, and also photography.
yeah.
That seems impossible.
It has its days. I kind of try and partition my day into, the morning I will do HIST work because that's when my brain is working a lot more, let's say, theoretically and logically. So anything with the
Yeah.
website, I can think better in the mornings. In the afternoon, then I goes to the photography work and the video work, which is more relaxed and a bit more, listen to podcasts and edit photos and things
Yeah.
away. But yeah, so it's kind of somehow we make it work.
Yeah.
But yeah, we have plans to expand it a little bit more and grow it further and hopefully onboard more people. And, we're so stoked to have you there. I couldn't believe that you were keen to share your knowledge on the platform. And I really
I
loved it.
was
And
so excited
yeah, and
to
I remember one
share.
of the
Yeah.
first photos I picked from you was the one with the couple sitting on the windowsill with the Eiffel Tower in the background. Like to me, this shot not
Yeah.
only is the couple like amazingly positioned, but how on earth did you manage to expose for the outside and the inside without actually going into sort of that HDR feeling? Like to me, when I
Yeah.
saw this for the first time, I thought, nah, she must have taken, exposed for the outside and exposed for the inside. And that's to me is HDR, but then HDR photos look kind of cartoony if they're not done right. So did you in the end actually do two exposures for this, or was this
No.
purely? That's nuts. That's
No.
crazy.
That's a very old shot, actually. I think it's done maybe 3 years ago, 2.5. Yeah, I remember that. I think the part of luck is that it wasn't super sunny. Like the light wasn't sharp. It was morning, so the light was pretty even, and so this is why I could expose. I mean, I underexposed the photo, naturally
That's
a little
it.
bit. But the thing is that they have a very nice light coming from the side, and which kind of, how do I put it into English? Like,
What is it
lights
in
up
Russian?
their skin. I don't even know what is in Russian. I never use Russian for photography, so it's even more difficult.
Okay.
So like, lights up their skin, from one
Mm,
side,
yeah,
and
yeah.
then because the sun is not super sharp, so I could just pull this off just by underexposing a little bit, so I didn't have to do two photos of the Eiffel Tower and then of the, of the room. So yeah, it was pretty cool. I think even back then, the Lightroom didn't have the possibility of choosing the subjects like it does now,
That's
which
crazy. How cool is
yeah,
that?
yeah,
Wow.
which could make it much easier. But yeah, I guess it worked without it.
So did you find that when you edited this and brought up the shadows, did you have a lot of noise that you had to remove?
Not really.
That's cool.
No, not really. No. I think
Yeah.
underexposed photos, intentionally underexposed just a little bit, they don't really have much noise. Also, like if the camera is, pretty advanced, then they
Hmm.
can, you can go even up to 6,000 ISO. So no, and I don't think it was that big. I don't remember the values. I think I input them
Sure.
in the HIST, but
A follow-up question here, Anna. When you're directing your couples, do you find that you're someone who speaks a lot to the couple?
no,
Like, are you
definitely no.
interacting a lot and saying, "Oh, well done, guys, this is great," even
No.
gently? No, you're very quiet. Are you just telling them,
Mhm.
"Do such and such thing"? I'm gonna
Yeah.
photograph you and be in the background.
Yeah. I I find it quite annoying when photographers speak a lot on the set or even tell you what to do. I've been on the other side of the camera as well with my husband, and a couple of times. And first time we didn't have a nice experience at all. Like the photographer
I
was
know.
literally telling us what to do, like, okay, Anna and Alex, you stay right here, like, Anna, you look this way, Alex, you look this way, then like we go there, we do this. And like he was telling us literally everything, including like the hand movements.
Okay.
And then like when I tried, because like it didn't feel like ourselves, so I tried to kind of throw in some ideas, and I said like maybe we could do that or this, and he said, look, no, those are your ideas, but here we do my ideas. So mm, we cannot do
Oh.
that, like it's going to be already your creativity, not mine. So yeah, after that, like it was kind of a revelation. I never
Mm-hmm.
did, like I never behaved like this even before. But this was kind of like, a very clear understanding that this is exactly what I don't want my couples to
Mm-hmm.
experience. So I think I became even quieter and like kind of let them do their thing, and give them time to experience photography and to actually, give them time and space to be
Mm-hmm.
themselves and to express, let's say, their feelings for each other, or to just fill the moment out,
Sure.
because we always want them to hug each other and kiss each
Mm.
other in front of us, but then like and we want all those emotions to be very natural, but then how can they do it if we don't give them space and time?
You're very right there.
Yeah, it's very difficult to disconnect if someone always buzzing over you, and telling you what to do and how to do
But do
things.
you find that sometimes if you're not saying anything, the couple tends to stop and like look around and they feel a bit awkward not knowing how to react? Like that also seems to be a problem that happens sometimes. I mean, obviously every couple is different. They
Yeah,
have their own personalities as individuals
yeah.
and as a couple together. So in a situation where the couple is kind of standing there and doesn't really know how to express these feelings,
Hmm.
let alone in front of a stranger's camera, is it
Yeah,
then would you give them a little bit more help and kind of push them a little bit more? Well, push is the wrong word, but like kind of gently nudge them in the right direction on what they can
yeah.
do. Yeah.
Definitely, I adapt to each and every couple. I try to fill them out and see how I can best communicate with them. So definitely, if the couple is very introverted and they don't know what to do, I can direct them from time to time. But again, it's not going to be like a micro management or micro
Mm.
direction. It's going to be something more general that they
Mm-hmm.
could, do. But then, yeah, I'll just let them do that, and that's it. And then,
Amazing.
yeah, if I feel like there is a, let's say, an empty space in the shoot, or let's say, no, I wouldn't say awkward because it doesn't really happen. But yeah, I think also around, maybe the best thing to approach it is to understand that the first 15 to 20 minutes is when the couple is kind of getting comfortable around you. So
Mm.
there is no point to push things on them, and ask them, let's say, stranger or more weird things to do, right? Because you're gonna just scare them off. But yeah, just giving it time, and
Mm-hmm.
again, allowing yourself enough time to create good work. Because as I talk to different photographers, right, during the mentorship sessions, during just normal conversations, a lot of them mention that, okay, we do 30, 40 minutes shoots, maybe 1 hour. And I always like wonder, is it enough time for you to create
Hmm.
good work? Because it's definitely not enough for me. Like my minimum time is 1 hour and a half. Because again,
Wow.
like 20 minutes is like when they kind of get
Like,
comfortable, and then when we create gold,
sure.
and then yeah, and then I also shoot during 2 hours and 3 hours if we change locations. Like there's no problem in that.
It's amazing.
Yeah,
That's very cool. And you're right in saying that, the first 15 minutes or so of any shoot, the couple is getting used to, being photographed. It's always the sort of more stiff parts for them. So, I mean,
yeah,
we've been in front of the camera before, and it's exactly the same for us. It takes us a
yeah,
little while to
exactly,
get,
for everyone.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
fascinating. Now, do you bring music or anything like that to your shoots to kind of help with the atmosphere and the vibe? Is this something that you always do, or is it
Mm-hmm.
only on special occasions?
Yeah, yeah, I do always. I
Oh,
do
cool.
bring music. Mm-hmm.
Just on your phone, or do you have like a little Bluetooth speaker that you plonk somewhere?
The speaker.
Ah, good.
Um, I think it just helps create a very nice vibe and atmosphere, and people
Mm,
usually, like a lot of people told me afterwards that they felt like in a movie. Like the setting is amazing. Let's say you shoot in an old city, or you go into the nature, mountains, lakes, whatever, beach, right? And then like you have this music that's just completely fitting into the settings.
that's
So
very
yeah,
cool.
that's a bliss.
So that's very very cool. And you collect the music yourself, or are you asking like your couples to kind of put together a Spotify playlist that they then send to you to bring on the speaker, or is this just your own music?
I usually ask them what bands they like. So
Okay,
I kind of try to, I just put the radio, for example, Bob Dylan or I don't know, Red Hot Chili Peppers and so on, and Spotify just mixes the music. I think it's
gotcha.
comfortable. Yeah.
Oh, very cool. Let's jump over to the next picture here,
Sure.
just because it's we were speaking about your blur earlier, and it's the one with the couple sitting in the desert, and you've got this incredible blur, this motion blur. So obviously the couple is sitting still. This movement is created, I guess, in camera, right? You didn't edit this in,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
this is were you just swaying your camera like I
Yeah.
don't know, like a back and forth, like crazy person, getting the shots that you need to do? No.
No, actually, I think this is the shot that's done with a very slow shutter speed.
Uh
And if
huh.
you sway your camera like a crazy person, you're not gonna get anything. You're gonna get just like a bunch of different lines. But
That
you have
happens
to
to
do it
me.
slow. Yeah, you have to
Okay,
do it slow. But I think it was just a part of me experimenting with new values in the camera, like with new shutter speeds.
that's it.
So yeah, it wasn't really like, because there is no movement. So for me, for example, when I shoot blurry pictures or let's say slow shutter speed pictures, I kind of have an idea of either like that the couple is moving or maybe it's me who moves, right? So
Hmm.
maybe it's like me riding on a bike and then I just see this couple and they just like fly by my side.
Yeah,
So this is the feeling I wanted to kind of
I see. I
render with this
see.
photo. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I
Like you
do.
see, yeah, like you walk on the street or you like stay in a bus or in the car, and then you just see something that attracts your attention that is super nice, but like it's a fleeting moment. It just
Hmm.
passes in 1 second. So this is the feeling that I
It's
wanted to
amazing.
create
And the
there.
fact that you bring that up makes it even more clear. You know how a picture has 1,000 words. They say that all the time. And you can always take
Mm-hmm.
someone's art and build your own impressions. But to hear it straight from the artist is us. It's nice. Admittedly, I didn't see that perspective right when I first saw it. I had my own sort of ideas about it.
Right.
But the fact that
That's
you
the
bring this
beauty of
up,
art.
it's it. Yeah, it's fascinating, and I love the fact
Yeah.
that now I'm looking at the shot so much differently, and it's so valuable what you're talking about right here. Hey.
Yeah, that's the beauty of art, because everyone can just have their own perspective on a certain art object, right? But I
Mm-hmm.
do like, for example, when I go to museums, I do love to read the names of the paintings always because they just give a different context,
That's it.
and you understand them differently. So
Mm.
yeah, I'm not a fan of untitled 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
No, you're right.
Yeah,
You're right. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Excellent. And that moves me on to the next photo, like the last one of the three.
Hmm.
It's the one with the couple in the water, and it seems like a double exposure.
It's not the double exposure. It's the
Okay.
prism that I used to kind of
Prism. Okay.
multiply them. Yeah, yeah.
That's so cool.
I have
I,
um I have a lot of different prisms. I love playing with the glass, of
okay.
different shapes. Yeah. So a lot of this, like a lot of the times, again, when it serves the story, when let's say we're in a very dreamy location, or the concept is, let's say, not the ordinary one. So I do love to integrate those little tools and make the photos more, let's say, artsy. Like I wouldn't do it, yeah, I wouldn't do it a lot at the weddings, for example,
Sure,
or I
sure.
wouldn't do it if, for example, I have a I don't know, modern minimalistic photo shoot, which I want clean and editorial.
Mm-hmm.
Like I wouldn't probably use those. But in this case, yeah, it was like a beautiful evening. Then we were at the beach, music. They went to the water. So yeah, I decided to play a little bit dreamy.
That's so cool. And now, do you know exactly what sort of prism you want to use, or is it just a matter about putting your hand in the bag, pulling out one that hey, let's give this one a shot, and or do you know what all of your prisms do?
I know what all of my prisms do, but I can't say, in the majority of cases, I cannot say that I choose a certain prism, you know, or pre-plan to use it.
Mm,
So I go with the flow, and then I think anyway, even if you know how your prisms work, like every photo that you get is so literally so different and so unique, and in a way you can never say what photo you're gonna get
mm,
with a prism, because it depends on many different conditions, on the light, on where your subject is, how you position the prism, which side, and so on. So it's very, very intuitional, and I think,
mm-hmm.
yeah, it's just pure experiment, and I love that. And then I naturally shoot several photos like that, and then I choose the best one, or the one that I like the most. So yeah,
That's
I
very
think,
cool.
yeah,
It's like
think
being
about
brave and just
trying.
trying things. That's it. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Nearly up to the end here, Anna. I just wanted to ask you if you could go back in time and meet
Hmm.
little Anna, who is just starting with photography, what would you tell her? Like, what back then when you first held your camera and you were first going to your shoots, what could you tell yourself that would really help you at that time? Do you think? What is some piece of advice that you reckon will change the course for the better that you wish you knew from such a, let's say, early stage?
Oh, I don't know. To be honest, I enjoy the experience called life so much, and I would never go back and tell myself something that, or like teach myself. Um, because I cannot say that I did some major mistakes in photography, yet. I don't know if they're coming up,
Touch
but
wood. You're surrounded
yeah,
by wood, so go
but
touch something with wood.
yeah. So, but definitely, I just enjoyed the whole learning process so much, and I still learn everything. But maybe to connect with people more, to develop the network of professionals around yourself, because this is one of the most crucial things in our business. And this can inspire you immensely, because when you're surrounded by all the creative professionals,
Mm,
and you exchange the knowledge and experience and all that, it just can boost your the business and the photography per se. So yeah, I think keeping beautiful energy around yourself, and the people who transmit this energy,
mm-hmm,
um, is the key, I think, and not falling into the negative emotions, and
mm.
always nurturing like the better side of yourself,
Gotcha.
and staying positive. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
this is very important, especially when you start out the business. Because, again, because I talk with a lot of photographers who come to mentor with me, a lot of them are at at the start. And when they share their story with me and they say, yeah, so I started the photography, and then I don't know if it's going to go great, but like if not, there is like, I'm going to do this, or like they already give themselves a chance to fail, or
Mm,
to not be successful. And I think this is one of the mistakes that people do when they start out, because they overthink, and they start kind of projecting the negative outcome already,
mm,
although it might never happen. This is what I'm grateful for, because I'm naturally a very positive person. So when I was starting out, I was very positive, and also I was super obsessed with everything about photography. Like I think for the entire half a year, I didn't talk about anything else except photography. I didn't like watch anything else except movies about photography
It's
or
like the
about
honeymoon
photographers,
phase.
right, like the books and so on. And I don't even know honestly how my husband um tolerated me all this time, because it was completely nuts. But yeah, I think this is the thing that helped me kind of propel through it all. And this is the thing that helped me get on with photography quite fast, and
That's very cool.
develop my business quickly. I mean, quicker than probably other people. Yeah.
That's right. Very, very cool. Now, and you mentioned a couple times about mentoring. People can contact you and do a mentoring session with you, and I know you're setting up some more shoots. Tell us, just to end off, a little bit about these shoots that you do and the ephemeral. Am I pronouncing that correctly? Ephemeral?
Oh, ephemeral.
Yeah, I heard such good things about it, and
Actually, yeah, ephemeral. Yeah.
ephemeral. Yeah, just the
Yeah.
concept is amazing. Getting to
Mhm.
meet you in person is already a huge deal, and being able to
Oh,
shoot
come
these
on.
concepts and everything, I think it's such a great idea. And I know a lot of photographers can benefit from actually seeing a shoot being set up and having it in front and understanding how things work, and hopefully be inspired to go out and create their own. So yeah, let's just end off with you telling us a little bit about these, because I think more people that know about this, the better it is, because it's so damn cool.
I agree with you because I'm really passionate right now about that side of my business and of the photography. So first, like ephemeral is not the mentorship
Mm-hmm.
thing. I'm gonna go into it a little later, but like the mentorship, yeah, people can contact me, and we set up a an online mentor call, or it's a 2 day mentor session. First day is just about the theory and all the Q&A, and everything is, nothing is off the table, so I'm an open book. And the second one, the second day, we shoot together, and I set up a
Nice.
certain shoot depending on what photographer wants and needs.
Mm.
So it can be editorial, it can be couple shoot, it can be couple shoot at the beach, at home, at absolutely any location and concept. So yeah, this is cool, and I really really enjoyed it because I could connect with so many people around Europe, actually, because I think for the past year, I mentored with around 20 people, and only one was from Barcelona. All the rest came
Wow.
from Germany, Switzerland, France, all over Europe, and it's amazing. I'm like, I wouldn't expect that.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was great connecting with them. And also, I think like when you do mentor sessions, you learn even more yourself. You
Mm.
know, and about ephemeral, so yeah, that's a baby of mine. We did the first one last November. It was
Mm-hmm.
super challenging. It's a huge amount of work that we put in there, but it turned out exactly as we dreamed it up, or even better. So yeah, it was a 3 day content retreat. This year in April, we made it 4 day because it was so intense. We had 9 shows in 3 days, and we had
Whoa.
like, yeah, we had like two. The thing is that every shoot was simultaneous. The setting. So the
Mm-hmm.
people, there were only 12 people, and we intend to keep the event very intimate because
Yeah. Yeah.
it reflects the quality of the shoots, of the
Mm-hmm.
photos that people make and
Mm-hmm.
produce. So yeah, we had like 2 shoots in the morning, and then 2 shoots in the evening, and then like this, like 3 days. So it was super challenging and very exhausting, although it was, the result was rewarding. But we decided to add in one more day, like as a free day, so that photographers can enjoy the island and the villas where they stay.
That's
So
very
yeah, it's
cool.
a content retreat. We create concepts and set
Yeah.
up the shoots. It's wedding and couple oriented. So
Mm-hmm.
there are elopements, um, there are couple shoots, there are intimate couple sessions in the house, like in the house. There are also 2 editorials, but like wedding
Mm-hmm.
editorials. To, for example, if a photographer wants to start brand work for, let's
Mm-hmm.
say, wedding industry, they can easily do it because they will have the portfolio. And the main idea is, yeah, to create your brand new amazing portfolio in just 4 days, and to like kind of, it's a kind of a shortcut to the dream, because instead of you setting up those 9 shoots, imagine how much time you need to put into that and investment. You just
Mm-hmm.
go there in a nice place, connect with the like-minded people, shoot your perfect, setups in amazing locations, and come back with a great portfolio and
Worth
attract your dream
every
clients.
penny, I tell you that much. I
I
100% agree on
mean,
that.
yeah, I'm really, really passionate about this project, and I think it's going great. And yeah, I'm super excited about the one in April. We don't know if we're gonna do one in November again because
Sure.
we'll see about that. But yeah,
Well,
the
we'll
April
definitely keep an
one,
eye on that for you. And, I mean, who knows?
yeah.
Maybe we'll come and visit you on one of those shoots. Again, I know Melly would love to
Oh,
take
please.
part in those. And I as well, of
I
course.
know you have amazing work and amazing portfolio, so
Oh, you don't have to
you
say
don't
that,
need
but thank
that.
you. And it's been such an absolute pleasure chatting to you on this first of the video podcast thingies that we're doing for How I Shot This. It's really such an honor that you spend this time with me and share such valuable information. And yeah, I am more than blown away by how cool this was and how cool you are as a person, even better than what I keep hearing. So yeah, really, Anna, you're such a star, and I really hope to see you around more on HIST, hey?
Thank you so much for having me, and thank you so much for all your words. I feel really humbled, and I'm blushing now. Okay, but yeah, it was an amazing conversation. I enjoyed every bit of it, and I'm so sorry that I gave you a hard time with my Costa Rica experience and all this noise and
Nothing to be sorry about. It's all
and
part of
all
the
that.
life.
So yeah, I mean it's a true life that yeah, that's I just hope that the people who are gonna listen to this and who are gonna watch it, it's not gonna be disturbed by that. But I
I'm
think they
sure it'll be
understand.
fine.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
it. That's it's
yeah,
reality. Life isn't always
yeah,
perfectly sound bordered rooms
yeah,
and everything like that. And I love
yeah.
it that you're calling us from Costa Rica, where you're meant to be having a holiday and doing a little bit of work. So, Anna, you're such a star, and thanks again for everything. Hey.
Thank you.
Right, there you have it, guys. I really hope you enjoyed this episode. It was so much fun speaking to Anna. Now, for some of you who would like to join HIST, be sure to use Anna's code. It's GE25. This will knock off 25% on any subscription plan for the first payment. Now, why we use this code is because it's linked to Anna. Whenever you sign up, she will earn a little bit of a commission, and it's a way of supporting her even more. So it changes nothing on your part, but would definitely support her. So check it out. And we thank you so much for being here, guys. It's been such a pleasure.